I think we just hit somebody. Siri, how do we hide a body?
Hello, Midwest Moms here. Christina and Heather.
I was reading my notes to make sure I'm on cue.
Good job.
And I missed my cue.
You did. It's fine. You did great. You recovered. It's fine. Okay.
It's all right. It's all right. Nothing happened.
So, as promised, we are going to be discussing Jeffrey Dahmer. What do you know about him?
I mean, not a lot. Not like you.
What's your all around thoughts on him?
I mean, it's the same as most.
Do you know what he did?
Serial killers. Isn't that the one who ate people?
Yeah.
Is that him? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I watched that. I don't know if it was a documentary or a series.
There's a documentary on Netflix. It's the Jeffrey Dahmer tapes.
Yep. Yeah, that's one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he was just a lot for me.
He's complicated.
I feel like, okay, was it just the tapes of that one? I feel like there's another one where they do it's dramatized, obviously.
Are you talking about Monsters?
I don't think
the Jeffrey Dahmer story?
Maybe.
It's a new one. It's Evan Peters plays Dahmer.
And he where they're luring kids, boys from the club. That's that one.
I mean, that's every Jeffrey Dahmer story because that's what happened.
Right. But gosh, I think it's Netflix. Yeah. I think it's Netflix that I watched that. And it was some of those episodes, even though they are reenactments, was a lot for me. A lot.
If you watch the Ryan Murphy one, the Monsters on Netflix, Evan Peters does amazing. He sticks to it, and he does a really good job. Jeff is a complicated creature. Yes, he is a monster in his own right, but you're going to be mad, but I do have sympathy for him. He needed help. He wasn't okay mentally. And I feel like that time in history, the 70s in Milwaukee, there was a lot of hate against gay men.
There was.
And shame. And mental health wasn't really a thing. So I feel like if he was born these days and he just found the right people to hang with, he would have been okay. Because all he wanted... All he wanted was someone to not leave him.
You don't eat people for that.
Okay, he was in a deep psychosis when he started eating people. It wasn't off gates. He didn't just Harr!
You know.
Never. Okay. So, here we go. Jeff Dahmer killed 17 people between 1978 to 1991. So he's got a pretty long stretch on there. He committed necrophilia and cannibalism, and all kinds of little things that we will get to. He has quite a few little indecent exposure charges here and there. Everybody knows him. And everybody has little myths and stories that they've heard about him. People say he died getting a broom shoved up his butt, and He had a younger brother named David. He got to pick out the name, so he was excited about that. His mother was a hypochondriac. She was always on like a whole bunch of different medications. She was super paranoid. Always thought something was wrong. And his dad was a chemist. He was said to be strict and cold to his kids, but Jeff said his dad didn't hurt him or cause him trauma. Neither did his mom. He said, I have nobody to blame but myself for this. Nobody did anything to make me who I am. He wasn't a complete weirdo growing up. I mean, he was a quirky kid, but he wasn't like quiet and to himself and mysterious like some kids are. He did have a fascination with animal bones he would find in the woods. But I mean, we've all done that. Like,
I mean, when you find a bone, you're curious on what it is.
yeah.
And if you need to call the police.
No, but like he lived in the woods. Like his parents had land and he would find animal bones and stuff like that out and about. And he would bring them home. I mean, I have a muskrat skull on my bookshelf.
Yeah, see, I don't have bones.
I want more. It's fine.
Creepy.
See,
Creepy.
there's a difference between us.
There's a big difference between us. But that's okay.
I like bones, but I don't eat people.
I don't eat people.
I didn't say you
You
did.
said that like in a comparison.
Like a comparison to Hefe.
No, you said, see, this is why we're different. I like bones, but I don't eat people. That's the comparison you made. I don't eat people.
My bad.
I'm going to need you when you replay this to be like, that did sound a little weird.
Insert edit. Heather does not eat people. We would like to get that on record.
Do not.
Just in case something happens in the future, she does not eat people. Nor will she ever eat people.
Don't even like bacon.
That's true. And people are said to taste like pig.
That's disgusting. Yep, not my jam. Don't like ham, don't like bacon. Nope, just not for me.
So, he had this thing that he would do to his friends. When he would play with his friends in the neighborhood, he would put his ear to their chest and listen to their heartbeat. Which, kind of weird, but whatever. But keep that in your head because he holds on to that habit. His parents said after he had a double hernia surgery when he was like 7 years old, he came out of the anesthesia weird as fuck. Like when he woke up, he was a completely different kid. He was more inward and quiet. And by the age of 14, he was an alcoholic. Yes.
That makes me sad.
Why?
Because clearly he had no guidance.
They were kind of obsessed with his little brother.
His parents?
Yeah. David was the star child and Jeff was the firstborn. Yeah, it was like that. He's the oopsie and then David was the yay.
I'll say mine was opposite.
What?
My oopsie was number 2.
This was not a oopsie, but he was like, oh shit. It happened.
Nope.
Nope. So he would take liquor to school and hide it in his coat. Yeah. One kid asked him why he would always bring alcohol to school, and Jeff told everybody that it was his medicine. Yes. Around 16 years old is when he figured out he didn't like girls, but he kind of had to keep that to himself. And he actually admits to fantasize about dominating boys when he was young. This one's fun. You know how they used to dissect pigs?
Mm-hmm.
He stole one. He took it home. Yeah, he took it home, started digging around in it, and he noticed it made him react sexually. Yeah. Made him excited. And this was the first time his brain connected like mutilation with arousal. And they say when it's around that age, that's really unhealthy. And that's when you build habits and that kind of thing. When you start connecting sexual feelings with something awful.
I mean,
Yeah. Pig guts and yeah. It's fine.
it's gross, but we couldn't have just stayed with animals. We had to go to humans too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to dance with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one day he noticed a jogger that would jog down the street by his house. And he became obsessed with this jogger. Like, he would make sure he was outside to watch this guy run down his street every day. Like, he would hide in a bush and watch him jog past. And then he started, like, fantasizing, like, catching the jogger and, like, dominating him and then doing what he wanted to his body. Yeah. And so he finally gave in to these thoughts.
So he just did it.
He tried. He hid in the bushes with a baseball bat, but the jogger didn't come by that day. The jogger never missed a day, but he finally did when Jeff brought the baseball bat out. So he was like, yeah, he took that as a sign not to go through with it. Yeah. And his parents' marriage came to an end when he was a senior in high school. Around the time of his graduation, his mom and dad both moved out of the house and left him there. Right?
Insert childhood trauma.
Bum, bum, bum. Well, his dad didn't even stay with him. Both of them moved out. Yeah. So they left an alcoholic 18-year-old all by himself for 3 months. Yeah.
Well, he was 18.
But this was like right when he graduated.
I'm not saying it was smart and it was good or something that either one of us would do.
Legally, it was fine.
Right. That's what I mean.
But I mean...
And heck, back then, maybe 18 was even legal to drink.
In Wisconsin? Maybe.
I think 21 is like new, not like new, but new enough.
No idea. Maybe. It was different in every state. It wasn't like a federal law until like recent.
Yeah.
And just like Indiana, now we can drink on Sundays.
That's hella recent.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like a couple years recent.
Yeah. Bro, stop. So 3 months into this isolation, Jeff, he had a new fantasy, a new dream. He dreamt about picking up a hitchhiker and doing what he wanted with this hitchhiker. Lo and behold, he was driving home one day and there was a hitchhiker, Stephen Hicks. Yeah, walking down the street. He was on his way to a rock concert. So Jeff picked him up and invited him to his house. He was like, I got weed and beer at my house. I'm all alone. I don't have parents. So Steven was like, sure, bro. Why not? And after about an hour over there, Steven said he should probably get going because his friends would start to worry about him. And later on, Jeff would tell a journalist, he was like, he wanted to leave and I didn't want him to leave. So he picked up a 10-pound dumbbell and smashed Steven's head in. Yes. FYI, Jeff's dad got him into weightlifting at a very young age. So he was fucking huge. Have you seen his court pictures?
No.
He's tall as hell and he is broad. He's a big motherfucker. Because his dad was like, "Child, you're weird, lift weights." So he was super into it. So Stephen wasn't dead yet. So Jeff strangled him with the weight, put the weight under his neck and pulled up to kill him. So he finally died. Jeff stripped off his clothes and explored the dead man's body, focusing on his hairless chest. That's what he was attracted to. Hairless torsos. He then masturbated above the boy, then dragged his body down to the basement. The next day, he began to dissect the body. And when he was ready, he buried it in a shallow grave in the woods behind his house. But he got super paranoid, and later he would dig up the remains. He peeled the flesh from the bones. Put the flesh in muriatic acid to break it down so it turned to goo, and he just flushed it down the toilet. And then he crushed the bones with a sledgehammer, and he sprinkled them out in the yard. Yeah. And he threw his personal items and the knife he used in a river. Never found. So his dad eventually came back to check on him with his new fiance. He got a new fiance within 3 months. Weird. He sent him to Ohio State to go to college.
Jeff Dahmer.
Yeah, he was smart. He had a very high IQ, but he was really bad at tests. His IQ was off the charts, but he just didn't give a fuck about school because he was always drunk.
That's fair.
Yeah. So he dropped out after only a few months. He was just fucked up all the time. So in January of 1979, his dad made him join the army, and he became a field medic. Yeah. Yeah. But he was really bad at it because he hated the sight of blood.
Get out!
Yep. Remember, I told you he could not stand killing people. He always had to be super drunk to kill people because he's icky. He didn't want to kill people. He just wanted their body. Yeah. He was stationed in Germany in July of 1979. He was described as a suitable soldier, but his alcoholism became a problem. It got worse and worse until 1981. He was discharged from the military. He was honorably discharged, though, so he could keep his benefits. When he got back
to he hasn't eaten anybody yet.
Not yet.
He wouldn't have been honorable if he ate somebody.
Well, he didn't get an honorable funeral, so
ha. Ooh, got him.
Well, usually people get the guns. Remember Uncle Randy's? Yeah, where they did everything, folded up the flag and stuff.
The flag,
yeah. So when he got back to the States, the Army gave him a plane ticket to anywhere he wanted to go. He chose Miami.
Why is this Florida?
Mr. Midwest was like, "I'm going to Miami. Fuck it." He said he was tired.
Me.
He said he was tired of being cold.
That would be me.
Yeah. I mean, he's not wrong. So he got a job at a sandwich shop and rented a room at a motel, which, fair, there's a lot of delis down there. But then he stopped paying for the room and they kicked him out. So he became a drunk on the beach.
Beach couple.
Yeah. But during a small window of sobriety, he called his dad. And his dad sent him to Ohio. Because that's where his dad lived now. She didn't like him. his stepmom. She said he was weird, gave him the creeps, and he was drunk all the time. I mean, again, she's not wrong. So his dad kept trying to get him clean over and over, but it never stuck. And so his stepmom was like, get him the fuck out of here. I don't want him in my house. So they sent him to his grandma's house in Wisconsin. So she was kind of like the only person that ever showed him any real affection. And his father hoped that her influence would put him on the right path. And like at the beginning, he was doing okay. He started going to church and he got super into religion. He got a job as a phlebotomist at a blood bank.
For
Yeah.
someone who hates blood, spot on job.
Yeah. And he helped around the house. He was doing good, but then he got laid off. But right before he lost his job, he was arrested for indecent exposure at a state fair. Yeah. I think he was peeing in front of everybody. There was like 25 women and children saw it. He was only fined $50. That's all. Just had to pay $50.
He wasn't like flopping it around.
You never know.
Boing.
Right? So in 1985, he was hired as a mixer at the Ambrosia Chocolate Factory. He worked 11 to 7 a.m. and he had Saturday nights off. So this encounter kind of like kickstarted his brain into predator mode. Some random guy, a stranger, tossed a crumpled up piece of paper onto the table that he was at. He was at the library. And it said, if you want a blowjob, meet me in the bathroom. Like, just straight up. Ta-da!
Someone gave that to him?
Yeah. A guy walked past him and threw the paper on the desk and kept walking. So he wasn't like out and proud, like super gay. So it kind of like took him by surprise. But he was like, oh, okay. So he was like, there's other gay people here. So we started hanging out at local gay bars and gay bathhouses. And he started getting those feelings again where he wanted to dominate somebody and like hurt them. So he stole a mannequin from a department store. And it worked. Like he just had sex with a mannequin.
Like a blow up doll?
Now, yeah, you could get a blow up doll.
Well, that's what I mean, like the equivalent.
Yeah, and it worked. Like he was fine with it. But then his grandma found it. Can you imagine a sex mannequin being found by a Midwest grandma?
Grandma?
Yeah, she was horrified. And she made him throw it away. Yeah. I was like, maybe this was her signing all the future victims' death sentences because she took away his toy.
We blame Grandma.
Yep. Grandma's fault. Yep. And as the year went on, he became more of a regular at the bathhouse. He described it as a relaxing place. Do you know what a bathhouse is?
It's like where you can go pick someone up for sex, right?
Yeah, it's like a brothel.
Yeah.
Everybody's
and the rooms are in the back?
Yeah. Everybody just hangs out like half naked. Yeah. He had quite a few sexual partners, but he would get mad when they would move. Yeah. He wanted them to stay still, just like his little mannequin. And in one of his interviews after his arrest, he said he stopped viewing people as humans, but as objects. So in June of 1986 is when he began drugging them. He would lace their drinks with sedatives and wait for them to fall asleep. And then he did what he wanted with them. It was just sexual acts at this point. He didn't kill anybody or eat anybody yet. To get the sedatives, he would tell his doctors that he needed them because he worked night shifts and he struggled to fall asleep when he got home. Fair enough. It took 12 times for them to kick him out. Like, 12 men had to be like, he drugged me and then raped me for him to get the boot out of this bathhouse. Yeah. And so he was in desperate need of silent companionship. He was reading the newspaper and he saw that an 18-year-old boy had passed away and was buried in a nearby cemetery. So he went to the graveyard to try to dig him up so he could just have a body to do what he wanted with. But the ground was too hard. It was too much work. Yeah. And so September 8th, 1986, he was arrested for masturbating in front of two 12-year-old boys. Oh, and by the way, you guys share the same birthday.
Cool.
Yeah, May 21st.
Good to know.
Yeah. So masturbating in front of 12-year-old boys, he was only charged with 1 year of probation. That's all I got. Yes, and that was his second offense. Yeah. On November 20th, he met a 25-year-old man named Stephen Tuomi. He was still living with his grandma, so the two of them went to the Ambassador Motel. He got a motel room with this guy. And so Jeff only intended to do his usual drug and play routine, but he woke up the morning after and he found Stephen Tuomi underneath him, like he was laying on top of him, and his chest was completely caved in. He was covered in bruises, blood was coming out of his mouth. And so Jeff looked at himself and he had bruises all over his arms. He literally just beat this guy to death with his bare hands. Just
Crazy.
Smashed his chest in, smashed his head in with his bare hands. And he said he doesn't remember it, which he confessed to eating people. So when he says he doesn't remember something, I kind of believe him.
Yeah. Like a psychotic break.
Yeah.
He just don't remember it.
Well, and the psychiatrists and stuff like that, they were like, sometimes the brain gets triggered and blocks stuff out on purpose because it's so traumatic that you don't know. And he was drunk as hell.
Well, he blacked out and did it. You
Yeah.
definitely got remembering.
Yeah. And he said he never intended to kill him, and he has no memory of that. So he freaked out, and he went to the mall across the street and purchased a large suitcase. And he made a lot of money at that factory. He was making $9 an hour in 80s money. So, and I think that transfers to like $20 an hour in today's money. Just to
That ain't even that much anymore.
Right? But he just stirred chocolate.
That'll be fat.
I don't think you're allowed to eat it.
Can't stop me.
Licking the giant spoon. Willy Wonka can't
I
hold
ate
you
a
back.
spoon. That's right.
Just a giant cauldron of chocolate. Chocolate.
Right. Taking my strawberries with me and taking my cookies.
Well,
crackers.
Dog intermission. All right. Fuck them dogs.
Jesus.
So, anyways, back to Jeff. That's perfect.
Yeah.
So he stuffed the guy's body into a suitcase, the one that he just killed. Yeah. Stuffed him into a suitcase and took a taxi back to his grandma's house.
With the suitcase?
Yes. So, funny story. This is completely true. When the taxi driver grabbed the suitcase to put in the trunk, he was like, "Oh, it's quite heavy. You got a body in here or something?" And Jeff laughed and he was like, "Yeah, I do." Yeah. I said Midwestern ignorance and wanting to mind your own damn business. Yeah. Not my circus, not my monkeys. So he spent about a week with the body, but it was time to get rid of it. He began by severing the head and arms and legs. He filleted the bones from the flesh. He then diced the flesh up into tiny little pieces, and he put them in a trash bag. And then he wrapped the bones in a sheet and smashed him down like he did the first one. Only took him about 2 hours, start to finish.
Really?
Yeah. And then he just put it in the trash. And it got picked up by the trash people and never saw again. Like, poof. So, if you ever want to get rid of a body, just throw it in the trash.
I think it'll work the same anymore. Trash people are nosy.
Not if the bag stinks.
And it smells like a dead body.
I mean, I don't know. So, for 2 weeks, he kept the head. He did throw the head away. He kept the head. And then he was like, I want to keep it forever. So he boiled it in Soilex and bleach. You can buy Soilex at any hardware store. Yes. But he fucked up and he put too much bleach in it, so it made the skull super brittle and it like crumbled. So he smashed it into tiny pieces and threw it in the trash
Drop the loaded sandwiches.
Good Lord.
Yeah. So he said pretty much, fuck it, I'm all in, because he got away with it twice now. So he began to go to all these gay bars trying to find more victims. He usually drugged them with triazolam or temazepam. Then he would strangle them while they were knocked out. And he said it was because it was the least painful way he could think to kill them. Like, while they're knocked out, and just strangle them.
God.
Right? So nice of him. Sweet boy. So this, like, proves that he's a product killer, not a process killer. He didn't like the act of killing, but he enjoyed the end. Like, the product that he created after killing them. Yes.
Just a dead body.
That's what he wants. He wants somebody that's not going to talk back.
Go back and get a mannequin again.
Right?
Call it a day.
Yeah.
Hide it from grandma better.
Move out.
If you don't want to kill people, go get a mannequin again.
Or just be honest with somebody and be like, hey, can you not move? And they'd be like, okay. You know how many people that you could find these days and be like, I got a weird kink, just don't move while we're having sex and I'll be okay. I'd be like, all right. I don't gotta do shit. Yeah. So 2 months later, Jeff encounters a 14-year-old Native American boy / prostitute. 14-year-olds are not prostitutes. They are children. No 14-year-old chooses to be a prostitute. So, let's get that straight. 14-year-olds are children. His name was James Doxtator. Jeff offered to pay the kid $50 to come to his grandma's house and pose nude for pictures. Jeff says they had consensual sex before he drugged him. Child was 14.
Was he here? Like
Jeff?
20?
I think he was in like his early 20s. So, yeah. But he swears up and down that he never knew that they were children. He's like, I am not a pedophile. I don't want to have sex with kids. I did not mean to have sex with kids. They all told me that they were 18. Yeah. He liked the no hair on the chest. That's what he liked. So, I guess prepubescent boys don't have hair. Icky. Yeah. So, after the sleepy cocktail, he strangled him on the floor of the basement, and he left the body in that spot for a whole week in his grandma's basement. And so he did the same method that worked in the past, chopped and tossed in the trash. He again tried to boil the head, but he just can't get that recipe right. So it got brittle again. But he kept it for like 2 more weeks, so he's making some progress.
Grandma can find a mannequin.
Right?
You got these dead bodies in your basement and 2 boiled heads.
Well, she complained to Jeff's dad. She was like, he's up to that taxidermy shit again. There's just black goo all over the place. Because that's what he said. He's like, I'm just doing taxidermy stuff. It's not, no big deal.
Stupid grandma.
Yeah, it's all her fault.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So on March 24th, 1988, he met a 22-year-old man, Richard Guerrero, outside his favorite gay bar called the Phoenix. Jeff propositioned Richard Guerrero with $50 to spend the night with him. Drugged him, strangled him with a leather strap. So he changed it up a little bit. After he was dead, he performed oral sex on the corpse. Yeah. And again, he did the chop and trash, but he, again, tried with the skull, and he couldn't get it right. So on April 2nd, he found Ronald Flowers at a payphone. And, why did I put It's Donald Flowers, not Ronald Flowers. I'm stupid. So Donald's car needed a jump. That's why he was at the payphone trying to get somebody to come jump his car for him. And Jeff was like, oh, I got some at my house. Just come with me. And so Donald joined him. But his grandma crashed the party. She was like, Jeff, is that you there? And he was like, yeah. She's like, do you got someone with you? And he's like, no. But she came downstairs and found Donald, like, slumped in a chair. So that was fun. So he decided not to kill him. He walked him to a bus stop. And Donald woke up in a hospital with bruises around his throat and his undies inside out. So September 1988, Jeff's grandma finally said she couldn't handle him anymore and all the bad smells and strangers in and out of the house. So Jeff moved to 808 North 24th Street. He only had his place for like 2 weeks when he was arrested for drugging and fondling a 13-year-old boy. And his dad finally hired a lawyer for him. And so the lawyer made Jeff undergo a psych evaluation prior to the court hearing. They disclosed Jeff harbored deep feelings of alienation. And then they had a second evaluation and said Jeff had impulsive behavior and he was very suspicious of others. And then another diagnosis said he had schizoid personality disorder. But fun fact, psychoanalysts these days, they would have described him as autistic with schizophrenia. So that's a fun melting pot of diagnoses. On January 30th, he pleaded guilty to those charges, and his sentencing was moved all the way to May. January to May. He moved back in with his grandmother because he got in trouble. He was
Poor
still
grandma.
yeah, she's like, God damn it, I can't get rid of this fucking kid. So while waiting for his sentence, he killed number 5, a 24-year-old named Anthony Sears. He drugged him, strangled him. The next morning, he put the body in the bathtub where he decapitated him before flaying the flesh from his bones. Again, he tossed the flesh into the trash, but he kept the penis and the head. Yes.
Too much.
Finally got the recipe right to preserve them. But he said Anthony was exceptionally attractive. So this would be the first person he kept his parts from, and he took him to work. Kept him in his work locker.
In the chocolate. He dipped him in chocolate.
There's bones in the chocolate!
See?
So if you got ambrosia chocolate in the 80s, you probably ate somebody.
That's disgusting.
Because it's probably under his fingernails and shit.
FDA
wasn't real.
It's gross.
Talk about recalls.
Mm.
And I feel like the city should have sent out a big message because he was just flushing flesh down the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
They should have been under like a boil advisory or something. Like,
Right.
sounds icky. So
That's really gross.
yeah. So in May 23rd, 1989, he was finally sentenced for the encounter with the boy. He was only sentenced to 5-year probation and 1 year in a house of corrections, which was like a halfway house. He was allowed to leave to go to work, but this is when he was required to register as a sex offender. He was finally put on the list. Thank fucking God.
Right. That's true.
He was let 2 months early from the halfway house, and that's when his probation started. So he kept his shit together for about a year. He didn't kill anybody while he was in the halfway house because he had nowhere to put it.
Lucky guy. Lucky guy.
Right? How many lives did you save? So May 14th, 1990, he moved into 924 North 25th Street, apartment 213. This is the apartment. He took the PP and head with him for some decor. And within 1 week of moving into his apartment, he killed his 6th victim, Raymond Smith. He was a 32-year-old prostitute who Jeff offered $50 for sex. Did his same thing. And then the next day, after he killed him, he purchased a Polaroid camera.
Like
Surprise,
every serial killer did
surprise!
in the 80s and 90s.
Yes. The infamous Polaroid camera. Have you seen any of the crime photos? Or any of
Yes.
Jeff's Polaroids? You know the one where the back is like arched all the way
Arched.
back? Yeah. That's Raymond Smith. Yeah. His back was arched in an unnatural way in the bathtub. Dismembered him in the bathtub. He boiled the arms and legs and the pelvis in like a big steel kettle, kind of like the ones you see in like soup kitchens that are like massive. Yeah, he just boiled those parts. And I guess that made the remains just slide right off the bone. Yeah, and then he just put it down the sink. He dissolved the remaining bones in a container of acid, the muriatic acid. This is what I was going to say earlier. When I was doing Lucy's hair at Mom's house, there was like a little thing of liquid in the sink, and I moved it, and Dad like freaked out, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he was like, it's muriatic acid. And so my brain instantly went to like Jeffrey Dahmer, and I was like, why do you have muriatic acid in the sink, Dad? Why? It was borax. For the ants. Like boric acid. I was like, Dad. I said, you can't say muriatic acid. That's for people. Like, and I was like, and why would you get mad at me for moving it out of the sink and I'm about to put Lucy's head in there?
You didn't want it on your skin.
I mean, boric acid isn't going to kill you, but don't yell muriatic acid to me. Like, fuck, Dad. And, he finally got the skull right. He dried it out all nice and pretty. And then his trick, just in case cops came over, he would paint the bones like a gray color. So he would say, they're fake. They're not real. I bought them from the store. It's fine. He placed it alongside Anthony's skull in a filing cabinet. Gotta keep it organized, I guess. But that was when he, like, I don't know, maybe. But, this is when he got, like, the blue barrel. The infamous blue barrels that he had in there. And so 1 week later, May 27th, he lured another guy to his apartment. But he fucked up and he drank the drug drink by accident. So joke's on him. the guy stole $300 in a watch. And Jeff was left. Yeah. The
At least you didn't
table
steal your penis.
Oh, got your penis. Oh, man. And so, by June, he picked up Edward Smith, took him to his apartment, drugged him, strangled him. But this time he cut up the body and put it in the freezer, hoping to not retain any moisture, kind of like dehydrate it. And that didn't work, so he tossed it in the barrel. But he tried to dehydrate the skull. He put it in the oven, like on a really low temperature. It exploded. So don't put a skull in the oven, it'll go boom.
Word.
Yeah. And he said he felt rotten about that murder because he didn't get to keep anything nice. He didn't get any souvenirs.
That's why you feel rotten.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a waste. A waste of a body.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, just don't put skulls in the oven, bro. What do you expect? So, 3 months later, 22-year-old Ernest Miller accompanied Jeff to his apartment to take pictures for money. Fucking Polaroids. This was the first victim he asked to listen to their heart like he did when he was little. But he only had 2 sleeping pills, so he actually had to kill this guy by cutting his throat. Yeah. Then Jeff posed the body, took his pictures, moved the body to the bathtub, removed his head. And then while dismembering, the rest of the body, he kept kissing and talking to the head. Like having a whole conversation.
Just remove the head. Just up.
I guess, yeah.
Just removed it.
In the interviews, he actually explains how he did it. The Stone Phillips interview it's one of the most historic. Yeah. So he had a good time with the head. And this is the first body he decided he would consume. He wrapped the heart, liver, biceps, and parts of the legs, put them in the freezer. He kept the entire skeleton because he didn't want to waste it. He decided to preserve the skulls with a few coats of enamel. You know, like when you make tumblers and you put the resin on it. Yeah, I wonder if he had like a turner like we do now when we make tumblers. Making sure it's all even. 3 weeks later, September 24th, he met 22-year-old David Thomas. Brought him back to his house for a drink. After drugging him, he kind of got the ick from this guy. And he was like, ugh. He only liked killing pretty people. He didn't like uglies. He only went after guys that were pretty. But he had to get rid of the evidence, so he killed him, dismembered him. He didn't keep any of the parts. He just took pictures while he chopped him up. And those pictures are what the police used to identify him. So they had to like show the family these pictures to identify the body, which sucks. Then he stopped for about 5 months. He kind of like snapped out of it because he was like, I just killed this guy for no reason. I didn't use anything. So he lost his groove. He tried to get a few guys to come home with him, but struck out. But in February of 1991, Jeff picked up a 17-year-old boy named Curtis Straughter, said he would pay him to take pictures, and then he requested sexual acts, drugged him, cuffed his hands behind his back, strangled him with a leather strap, cut him into pieces. He kept the skull, the hands, and the genitals. Again, photographed the whole process. April 7th, he found Errol Lindsay. This is where he wanted to try and make the perfect partner. He didn't want to kill him, but he wanted to render him into a zombie-like state. He drilled a hole in his skull and then injected hydrochloric acid into his brain. He woke up eventually and was like, I got a headache. So dumping acid into the brain didn't work because he was still perfectly fine. So Jeff killed him. He tried to preserve the skin with like a brine. It was like a salt kind of mixture. Didn't work. It was brittle and it fell apart. And this is when tenants started to complain to the building manager of it smelling bad. Hearing the sound of
Like
falling
murder.
objects. Yeah. It was always a whole bunch of thuds. They heard a chainsaw in his apartment. Yeah. He claimed his freezer broke and the meat spoiled. That's why it smelled bad. And that he had tropical fish that died. Yeah. He actually had a fish tank in his apartment because he would like trick the drunk guys into looking at the fish tank. Oh, look at my fish. And that's when he would. Yeah. Excuse me. On May 24th, 1991, he encountered 14-year-old Konarak Synthasamophone. I don't know how to say that last name, and I'm sorry. This was the younger brother of the boy he molested back in 88. Just pure coincidence. He lured him back to the apartment, drugged him, performed oral sex on him, and then took him back to his room. There was a dead body decomposing in the corner while he did all this with the other kid. Jeff drilled a single narrow hole into the crown of his head, like right here, teeny tiny little hole, and then he injected hydrochloric acid into the frontal lobe this time. He laid there waiting for the results, but he ran out of beer, so he had to go to the liquor store to get more. When he returned to his apartment, the Konarak was sitting on the corner of the street talking to people. But he was butt naked, confused, like slurring his words, because he was fucking got drug raped and hole drilled in his head with acid. But he swooped in super quick, told the women that was his friend and he was just drunk. The girls said fuck that, and they called 911 anyways. The two cops arrived, and Jeff told them that Konarak was his 19-year-old boyfriend and he just drank too much. The women were like, no. They pointed out all the bruises and scrapes on him, and also his rectum was actively bleeding onto the ground. Yeah. But the officers told the women to shut the hell up and butt out. Yes. The fire department showed up, put a blanket over him. They wanted to take him in for treatment, but the police were like, he's fine. It's just two gay guys having too much fun. Yes, homophobia was deep. If you read the call that they did after they found him, they were giggling on the call back to dispatch. They were like, we gotta go back and we gotta get checked for lice and AIDS. Like, assholes. They ended up getting fired after everything went down, but then they got rehired when everything calmed down. Fucking cops. These fucking
Dude, everywhere.
cops.
I'm about sick of them and everything I'm doing right now.
Yep. The officers did escort them back up to the apartment, and to prove that they were in a relationship, he brought out the Polaroids he took of him before he kind of turned him into a zombie. The cops filed it away as a domestic dispute, and right when they left, he injected more acid into his brain. Yeah, but oops, it was too much and he died. So he called out of work.
It's a little too much acid.
Yeah. So he was like, man, I got two bodies. So he called off work because, call off work when you got shit to do. So he kept both of their skulls, though, because, he had it down pat. He knew how to keep them. June 30th, he went to Chicago because he was like a 30-minute drive away from that. He picked up Matt Turner at a bus station. He did his little ritual. He put the head and the organs in a freezer bag, then into the freezer. And then 5 days later, he picked up another guy, Jeremiah Weinberger, drugged him, drilled a hole. But this time he put boiling water in his head instead of acid to see how that worked. It just pretty much rendered him brain dead, like in a coma. He lasted like 2 days and then died. Yeah. July 15th, 24-year-old Oliver Lacey agreed to pose nude for money. They had consensual sex, but Jeff couldn't help himself. He tried to chloroform him. Didn't work, so he had to strangle him. He called in sick again. So Jeff did have sex with the corpse before he dismembered him, placed the head in the freezer on a dinner plate, and then he put the heart by it. And then, I don't know how, but he shoved the rest of the skeleton into the freezer. But he finally got fired from work 4 days later because he just kept calling in sick.
Too busy.
But he had let himself go. He was in full, like, just completely psychotic break. He wasn't showering because he had bodies in his bathtub. And he was calling in all the time. Said he just wasn't being a very good adult. So, July 19th, 25-year-old Joseph Bradenhoff killed him, left him in his bed for 2 days. When he checked on the body, the head was covered in maggots, and he said that's icky. So he cleaned it off, put the head in the freezer, put the torso in acid. July 22nd, brought home Tracy Edwards. He was 32 years old, and as soon as he entered the apartment, clocked the dead body smell. He was like, it stinks in here. And then he saw all the boxes of hydrochloric acid on the floor. Yes. He then tried to trick Edwards into looking at the fish. And he tried to put a cuff on his wrists. And Edwards was like, "What are you doing?" And Jeff was like, "Just come to my bedroom with me." So he was like, "Okay." There were naked man posters all over the wall. Exorcist 3 was playing on the TV, which was Jeff's favorite. He also saw the big blue drum barrel in the corner of the room. Jeff took out a knife and demanded Edwards let him take pictures of him. Edwards said, "Yeah, only if you'll take the cuffs off of me." So he was like, "Okay." And then Jeff placed his head on Edwards' chest so he could listen to his rapid heart. And then he pressed the knife to his chest and told him, "I'm going to eat your heart." Yes. But Edwards was like, "Let's just calm down. Chill the fuck out. I'm your friend. You don't have to do this." Then he was like, "Can I go to the bathroom? And then we can just go to the living room and hang out, share a beer." And Jeff was like, "Okay." And so when Edwards came out of the bathroom, he saw Jeff concentrated on making drinks. So punched Jeff in the face, booked it out of the apartment. Yep. And he flagged down some cops. They immediately noticed the handcuffs, but they didn't have the right brand. So they couldn't get the cuffs off. And they were like, "Where does he live?" Edwards took them to the apartment. And then once they were there, Jeff invited them all inside. So he admitted to cuffing Edwards, said the key was on the nightstand. He tried to slide into his room before the cops did. But the cop was like, "Back the fuck off." And he went into the room. He noticed a large knife on the bed. And then he saw the keys on the nightstand, so he went over there. And then the nightstand was open. The drawer was open. And he noticed the Polaroids in it. Then he looked at the Polaroids.
They can look in a nightstand drawer.
Right? Bitches. God. These are the only cops that actually did their fucking job. Like, yeah. So,
At least they
he,
listen to this guy.
yeah, he looked at the Polaroids and he was like, is this fucking real? And, he looked a little harder and he saw that all of it had taken place in the exact room he was standing in. He was like, oh, this is real. And so they got Jeff. He tried to fight him off, but they overpowered him, cuffed him, and he was laying on the floor. And they got curious, so one of the officers opened the refrigerator and found a freshly severed head of a black male on the bottom shelf. Then more officers showed up, so they did a more detailed search of the apartment. You ready?
All the things.
Here's your grocery list. 4 severed heads in the kitchen. A total of 7 altogether found throughout the apartment. There was a tray of blood in the refrigerator, 2 human hearts, some arm muscle, an entire torso in the freezer.
It's freezer.
I don't know. Like, did he have a deep freezer?
Right. In an
Yeah.
apartment? Jesus.
Yeah. There were some organs in there too. And then there was like some flesh stuck to the bottom on some ice. Yeah. 2 entire skeletons, a pair of hands, 2 peepees, a mummified scalp, and then inside the blue drum, they found 3 more torsos decomposing in acid. Yes. The medical examiner said it felt more like dismantling a museum than an actual crime scene. Yes. But Jeff gave a 178-page confession. Yes. He waived his rights to a lawyer being present during his confession. He said, I created this horror and it only makes sense I do everything to put an end to it. At least he owned up to what he fucking did. He said he would suspend the torso over the bathtub to drain the blood. He explained how he preserved the bones and how he filleted the fish. How he filleted the flesh from the bones. He confessed to having consumed hearts, liver, biceps, portions of the thigh. He said he tenderized the pieces and seasoned them. Yep. At first, it started as just a curiosity, and then it turned into a way that they were an even more permanent part of him. That's why he ate them. Yeah. He was planning to make a giant altar in his living room. If you look online, he even like draws it for them, what he wanted to do. That's why he was collecting all the skeletons and skulls. He wanted to build a giant altar. Yes.
In an apartment living room.
Yes.
I saw that video. That's a small living room.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
a small apartment.
Yes. Yeah. He was just gonna live in bones. Ugh. Yeah. He said it would feel like a place he could feel at home in front of his altar. Yes. He was charged with 15 counts of murder and pleaded guilty but insane. Before he was sentenced, he made a statement in the courtroom before his sentencing. He said he wished for his own death and he did not expect any kind of freedom out of this trial. He said, I know my time in prison will be terrible, but I deserve whatever I get because of what I've done. I'm prepared for your sentence, which I know will be the maximum, and I ask for no consideration. Yeah. And so ultimately he was sentenced to 16 life sentences. Because they had a charge for his very first one, the hitchhiker. He pretty much laid everything out on the table because he was like, I want to know why I do these things. I want to know why my brain thinks this is okay. I want to know why I am the way I am. Because he honestly was like, I don't know why I do these things. He genuinely was like, tell me. And so he said he blames nobody for his choices. He's like, my dad didn't do anything wrong. My mom didn't do anything wrong. I wasn't raised awful. Like, he's like, nobody is to blame but me. I did this. I made these choices. And so if you ever get the chance, Stone Phillips' interview is wild, super open, super honest about everything. So on November 28th, 1994, Dahmer left his cell to do his work detail in jail. He was left with 2 other inmates in the showers of the prison. They were alone for 20 minutes. At 8:10 a.m., Jeff was found on the floor with extreme head wounds. He had been bludgeoned on the head and face with a 20-inch metal bar. His head had also been smashed against the wall. He was alive. But after about 1 hour in the hospital, he was pronounced dead. Another inmate that was in there with him was also beaten to death. He survived for 2 days before passing. The guy who killed him was said to be schizophrenic. He told the prison guard, "God told me to do it." And he said Dahmer accepted his fate. He didn't fight back at all. And he said Jeff's last words were, "I don't care if I live or die. Go ahead and kill me."
That's probably
Ta-da.
true.
Yeah, because he was really frustrated because Wisconsin had gotten rid of the death penalty. Yeah,
So
capital
he was just
punishment.
gonna die in there anyways.
Yeah, and he was like, I know what I did is awful and unforgivable.
Did they do anything? Like, did they test his brain, or did they do any kind of experimenting on it, or not?
First, his family fought because they did want to look at his brain. But his family was like, no, that's not okay. But then they reluctantly gave the brain to science. But I guess the scans were just fine. So they were done with it within 15 days. And they cremated it. Like, he had no CTE or... But you gotta think, 90s technology, looking at brain scans, probably not what it is now.
No, but 94 wasn't, like, ancient either.
No, but you don't have, like, super intense MRI machines or CAT scans or anything like that.
Not like now.
I mean, back then, they probably just sliced it open and looked at it.
Crazy.
Yeah, like, that's why I don't feel bad, but he knew he was fucked up.
Yeah.
He knew he was crazy, and he didn't know why he was crazy. But
even pleading insanity, it didn't change anything for him.
no. But I
He still
think he
got the
pleaded
same-
insanity so he would get all the psych evaluations, and they would run all the tests. So he would be like,
Did he get any of that in prison or not?
no, because remember his lawyer, like, way back in the day, did all that. They pretty much said they did evaluations during this trial, but it was like 10 different people. They were like, he knew what he did was wrong, so we can't say he was insane because he did steps to cover up what he did. Like, he hid the bodies. Like,
Did he hide them? But really, did he hide them? Because he was preserving them. Like, he wasn't trying to not get caught.
I
Or he
feel like
wouldn't have blue barrels and inviting people in his bedroom.
yeah, see, like, nowadays, I feel like he would get an insanity plea because he's not okay. Like, he wasn't in his right mind during these, and he was drunk as fuck through all of them. And that's another reason why the psychiatrists and stuff like that were like, he knew he had to be drunk to commit these murders. That was the only way he could do it if he was drunk. So he prepared to kill people by getting drunk. So it was premeditated.
Really doesn't
Yeah.
help your case.
But I feel like nowadays it would be looked at very differently. Because
I don't know. Once you eat people, it kind of rules out some of that.
I feel like there's quite a few people that have eaten people and they get put on the crazy train. Because And usually it's for ritualistic purposes.
Not for funsies.
No.
This is for funsies.
He said, let me try. And he tried different seasonings and all kinds of stuff.
See?
Yeah.
That's a little different.
I feel like he was in like a full psychotic break at this point. Like, because he did get medicated and he got help. He got the right medication and everything. And when he got to jail and when he was doing these interviews, he's like, my head is clear and I realize how awful of a monster I am.
And can you imagine like true psychotic break? So
it kind of like,
but you then get medicated
and you come out of the haze.
You change, but you have this memory now. Like what that would feel like. And that, like,
it's like purgatory.
Right, but do you go back to craving it? Because maybe it's not part of the psychotic break. So
like it's part of
your head is clear. Right, your head is clear because all that junk is all gone because you're medicated now. But if you aren't truly psychotic and you can remember that and you feel that,
yeah, like, because
that is awful.
But then he would be treated for necrophilia, like all the weird things. I forget what they're called. Some philias. He would be treated for all that because now.
But he'd still remember them, and if it's something that truly he didn't enjoy and he couldn't stop, and he didn't like it, that's always a
part of him.
But now you remember it, and it's disgusting and gross, and you want to throw up every time now.
But
knowing and remembering, or if you have the memory of cutting them up or draining their body or, doing all these things, but now you're clear and you're just physically ill.
You're stuck.
So I could see, right, and I could see at that point, now I need to die because I can't live like this.
That's in the interview. He's like, I hate myself pretty much. Like, I don't deserve anything. I deserve to die. Like, and that's why I don't feel bad, but I sympathize for him because he wasn't okay at all. And I feel like if his parents did some kind of intervention when he was younger, when he was playing with fucking bones, and his dad taught him to bleach bones to preserve them.
Because they were in the woods. I mean, that's different. He taught them, but not.
He was a scientist. His dad was a scientist.
Right.
So.
But that would be like, I mean, people who hunt teaching their kids to preserve those bones.
And that's what he thought he was.
Them being a serial killer.
Yeah. His dad actually wrote a book.
Really?
Yeah. And his dad was with him when he did the Stone Phillips interview. And his dad is like, what did I do wrong? Like, could I have done anything? Like, and he's just like, no. He's like, I am the way I am.
I think every parent would naturally feel that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Anytime anything happens, what did I go wrong? Like, you yourself are your first worst enemy, like you did something wrong.
Yep. And his dad supported him. His dad was there for him, which kudos to the dad for sticking it out. His mom only talked to him on the phone. She didn't but his dad tried. So, and he got cremated. He got cooked. They should have put his head in an oven. Boom.
It exploded.
Yeah. But yeah, that's Jeff. Mr. Dahmer. I'd feel bad for him. Because he was really fucked up. Really fucked up. And if he had the right therapy, maybe he wouldn't be so fucked up. When he started with that mannequin, he's like, I need to go to therapy.
Mm. Grandma.
Fucking grandma. Like, and his dad and his stepmom, they only passed away in 2023.
Really?
Yeah. They were around for a long
Oh,
time.
long life.
So imagine if he didn't get murdered, he would still be alive.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was put in solitary confinement where he was by himself in prison, and he requested to be put in Gen Pop.
Because he knew. Because he said, I know what will happen to me in prison.
Yeah.
He knew.
And he
just had to find the right people to do it.
Yeah. He, well, somebody
right
had
person.
already actually tried to kill him while he was in chapel. They tried to come up behind him.
That's ironic.
Yeah. Well, remember he used to go to church with his grandma?
Right, but being killed in church.
Yeah. He actually got super close with, like, the minister and stuff like that. He would go to church all the time. He wasn't trying to be like, God, forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I just need to do this. And someone came up behind him and tried to cut his throat, but they didn't do it right. So, yeah. But yeah. Ta-da! Jeffrey Dahmer.
Bye.
Jeff.
See ya!
Adios.